Steely Dan, Cousin Dupree, guest in studio.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio 1.
Mrs. Renu Kapoor is Chairperson FLO. Hi ma'am, welcome to the show.
Hi Rishi.
Wonderful to have you here. And I've got to say this, that some of the activities that you're doing in FLO is par excellence. Talk about what is FLO.
Well, FLO stands for FICCI Ladies Organization. And there are 14 chapters. There's a FLO which is for the ladies above 40, and there's Y FLO which is for the called Young FLO, and that's for people below 40. We are actually one of the largest and the oldest women's business association in Southeast Asia.
Wow.
And FLO Mumbai chapter this year, in a very innovative stance, has decided to take on 3 specific projects. I mean, all these years we've been doing events which have been towards the mission statement, which is power to empower. And we've been looking at doing stuff which gives empowerment to women. But Bombay, for this year, what we've done is we've taken on 3, and we had actually taken a pledge nationally last year, which said creating a climate of respect, safety for women. Stemming from that is this online training module, prevention of sexual harassment of women at the workplace. It so happens that it's also mandatory as of 2013, the law which Monica will fill you in about later. And we've decided to take this to corporates more from a point of view of sensitization. Legal repercussions are there, the laws have all been there, but we firmly believe that we need to sensitize both genders. The other 2 projects that we're doing, I'll just like to quickly share with you because they're all linked together, is that we're looking at skilling women from underprivileged backgrounds, and we've done a fair amount of work in the last 4 months. And another thing is that we have done is we have launched an online business consultancy cell called Swayam for women who have an idea and want to take it into a business model.
You know, I'm just curious to know, it's wonderful that you're sensitizing both genders, men as well as women. One would imagine that if you're working class, you're well educated, graduate, postgraduate, and then you end up working, you would have a fair idea of what is sexual harassment at the workplace and what is not. And unfortunately, most people don't realize that. They think it's harmless flirtation. But there's a very thin line between that harmless flirtation and sexual harassment. And men in particular, maybe some women too, cross that very, very often. Talk about that.
Absolutely, Rishi. Actually, in my 35 years of work experience, and I've been in the corporate sector because I was a chartered accountant in practice, I find that actually, to be honest, girls are not conditioned because they're not exposed to guys while they're growing up, especially girls who come from, the tier 2, tier 3 cities. They don't go to co-ed schools. So they're not able to react correctly to just a compliment, for instance. And that is the beginning, actually. Their reaction very often can give a wrong message. So I think that's one of the main reasons that sensitization for both genders has to begin right with the parents, between the brother and sister, between friends, through school, by teachers. It's actually really sad that we suddenly think we have to address it at the workplace. It's a continuous education that has to happen.
In fact, addressing it at the workplace is already too late. But I'm glad that you're taking the reins of that further. Up ahead, Monica Chaturvedi. She's Joint Secretary at FLO, which is, and this is the apex body of the Industry and Chambers of Commerce in India, like ma'am just said. And she has actually authored this program, sensitizing men and women on prevention of sexual harassment of women at the workplace. So she's going to talk to us. So don't go anywhere. Messages and back. Monica Chaturvedi, Joint Secretary, FICCI FLO Mumbai, the women's wing of the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. She is now going to talk about the prevention of sexual harassment education, the concept document, so to say.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio 1.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. Right at the top, government legislation, the need, and what really is the government legislation as far as sexual harassment of women at the workplace is concerned. Talk us through that.
Okay. The need for it was because there was no regulation specifically to address sexual harassment at workplace. There was all cases under sexual harassment were covered under the IPC earlier. Then came the Vishaka guidelines in 1997. Following it, on 22nd of April 2013, the Sexual Harassment Act was passed. It came into effect only from December 2013. The most important part about the Act is that it has laid out specific guidelines. It has very specifically said that this is for how to deal with such cases which come under workplace. So it is more or less a kind of a very, very verified version of the earlier acts.
Let me get this straight. Section 19C of the Act makes it mandatory for employers to educate their employees on sexual harassment at regular intervals. A bit about that.
Okay. There is Section 19C of Section 4B, which very clearly states that it is mandatory for all employers to have firstly an internal committee. Secondly, they need to sensitize the employees from time to time through training programs.
Now, the course per se that you have worked upon, let's go into a little bit of that. It's an e-learning program, and Mrs. Kapoor is going to tell us why you chose to do it online. But let's go through the salient features of the e-learning program.
Okay, as per the course, our main purpose is that you should sensitize the employees. First is prevention, and then you should be taken into the legal measures, should be the last option out. Because there is a lot of huge churn out, because women only who have the courage go up and talk about it.
That's right.
Generally, people tend to either keep quiet, but go on with it, accept it, or just quit work. Now that's a huge loss of productivity for organizations. So they have to sit up and notice, and based on this concept, the whole basis of this module is that it's very necessary to sensitize the employees, teach them how to deal with the day-to-day work environment, and that we have done through 5 very interesting short films. And post it, teach them how to distinguish between what is and what is not sexual harassment. Then we also talk about the Act in very simple terms, which a layman can also understand.
I'm going to hold on to that thought. We're going to play some music and we'll come back with Mrs. Kapoor, and she's going to talk about why in e-form, why online, and then Monica will talk us through the prevention, the education, and the compliance, and so on. It's Michael Jackson, Love Never Felt So Good, at HRISHIKY. That's where you can ask any questions on Twitter, and facebook.com/radio1.mom.radio.one.mum. There will be pictures of the ladies coming up very, very soon. You like the page, you can post out too. Michael Jackson, Love Never Felt So Good. Mrs. Renu Kapoor is chairperson at FICCI FLO, and we're discussing what to me is of great relevance in this day and age, the prevention of sexual harassment and at the workplace, and an education program that they put together. Okay, it's an e-learning module. Why E, only E?
Well, Rishi, you'd agree that most of us, even people of my age, spend at least 30 to 40% of their time in a day on internet or the mobile phone. That's the connectivity we have today. And also this topic that we are dealing with, the subject, is still a subject that needs, most of us are not very comfortable talking about it. So the best way that we thought would be this particular model of going on e-learning. Actually, it was quite providential that our technical partners, Noesis 369, approached us. They also have a portal called Gyan Exchange, and which is a virtual marketplace for buying and selling skills. So we got to see some of their work there. They approached us for content, doing this actually on ground. And so we joined hands and we went on e-model. Now, the advantages of e-model are several. One is that the person doesn't have to take time off, can do it at their own pace, at their own space, on their own. Also, my observation in education and seminars is that I think only the first 10-15% of the audience really pay attention for something like this. It's not everyone. Most people would be on their mobiles, messaging or texting when the seminar is going on. Whereas in this model, you actually have to get engaged, because you're going to get assessed. There's a method by which the person gets assessed and has to respond and gets tested and then gets graded. So the employer can get an outcome of what his investment is in his employees. It also, you can repeat the training. I mean, if you miss something, you can do that. So
Can actually pause it where I want to.
You can pause
if the doorbell rings.
Yes, absolutely. And then you can repeat it and go back. Then therefore there's significant cost savings as compared to the brick and mortar training, because you train about 20 to 30 people at one time. Whereas here, the employer can do this. What is most relevant is, especially for corporations, like we're talking to HPCL and they're ready to sign almost 3,500 employees for training, is that it's standardized. So all over the country, the message and the instruction is consistent. So these are the reasons why we decided to go into this e-model, and we believe it's going to really make a difference.
Okay, one of you ladies, just give out where the program is available or where we can get in touch with you should we take the program. And, the power to empower. I love that slogan of yours.
Okay.
So where can we?
On email, we are available on chairperson.flowmumbai@ficci.com.
You got to go very slow. This is not TV. There are no graphics, so go slow. Yeah.
It's chairperson.flowmumbai@ficci.com.
That flow is FLO. It's not W. Yeah. It's Flow Mumbai. Yeah.
Okay. On phone, we can be contacted at 98-203-92909.
One more repetition.
Okay. It would be chairperson.flowmumbai@ficci.com.
And the number?
And the number is 98-203-92909.
Okay. Do you have any presence on Facebook and Twitter as yet?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes. There is a YouTube video, a trailer available on YouTube. If you type in Noesis, Noesis,
Noesis on YouTube.
on
Yeah.
YouTube, you'll get the link of the trailer.
It'll pop up. Kim Carnes, Betty Davis Eyes, post us some messages. There will be pictures of the ladies at HRISHIKY on Twitter. You can follow that and you can tweet out any questions or responses. Facebook.com/radio1.mumbai.dio.one.mum. Like the page and see the pictures on the timeline and post out. Monica Chaturvedi, Joint Secretary, and Chairperson Renu Kapoor. They're from FICCI FLO, the Mumbai chapter, and wonderful work here. Prevention of sexual harassment at the workplace, their program.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio 1.
Let's talk about the mechanics of the instruction, the course, Monica. Run us through that, please.
Okay, this course is divided into 6 sections, and only when an employee has completed the section, run through the quiz, that he can move on to the second section. So that makes it very clear that the person has understood the program properly, and then only he can take the quiz and go on to the next level. Major part of the program is about sensitization. As Renu mentioned, we all come from different backgrounds when we come to work, whether it's men or women. Not only that, the culture of every organization is very different.
Correct?
So the sensitization is not only about working as colleagues, the sensitization is also about working as per the work culture, because each organization comes with its own culture. So even when you're handling clients, since this act is also applicable for out of office environment, it could be a client meeting, it could be an out of office parties.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you here. This is the tricky part. This has to be structured very sensitively, because there are lots of people in media houses, for example, because that is what I'm most well versed with, working in it. Advertising agencies, radio stations, television channels would like to go out for a drink after work, you know. And if you tell them not to do that, you immediately turn them off. So the idea is to do that and yet be aware of certain things. Is that correct?
Exactly, yes. That's what you try to do through various short films, which is very, very interesting, on how to deal with day-to-day scenarios at workplace, how to be aware that when you are crossing the line, because that's very important. So we've given some simple tips on how to prevent the situations from occurring, how to catch the first signs where you feel that you're crossing the line, both for men and for women.
And crossing the line, the other person is crossing the line.
Yes, either one. Either of them.
So you're basically acting out and demonstrating real life situations.
Yes, so we have, that's the most interesting part of the program, is that we've got these 5 short films ranging from simple flirting between colleagues to quid pro quo to talking about out of office scenarios, and also that women could be initiators at times.
which is where I want to bring Mrs. Renu Kapoor in. This is interesting. I saw was a disclosure picture with Demi Moore in it, where it was easily flipped around. And likewise, my friend Sudhir Mishra made in car with Arjun and Chitrangada, which also talked about it briefly. But that's celluloid. Let's talk the real world. Here are videos you're saying, and one of them is the flip side.
Absolutely. You know, Rishi, I firmly believe that it's not only the men who are at fault. Very often, it's the women who don't know where to draw a line. So we have one of the films which is very, very specific, where this woman is actually, making all the sexual overtures, and she has a junior, a colleague, and the poor boy really doesn't know how to handle it and deal with it. He knows that this is not going the right way, but finally he takes a stand. And that's what we're saying in all our films, that, maybe all of this can be prevented if it's not only actually of crossing the line. I think what is really imperative is that you look at drawing the line. You know where you draw the line. How do you... So there's one film which shows how a simple compliment about the dress. How do you react to it? Do you go all gushy and you smile and you say, "Oh, thank you, sir," or you just take it in your stride and walk away? And in that particular film, we show where the woman goes to her boss and says, "I don't like the way you're talking to me." Similarly, where the woman makes a sexual overture, the guy then takes it to a senior person. So it has to be addressed. Legal recourse should be the last resort.
Fair enough. Ronan Keating, I love it when we do. The ladies will be back. Yes, even a solo work, Ronan Keating has shades of boyzone. I love it when we do. Monica Chaturvedi and Renu Kapoor. Renu Kapoor is chairperson. Monica Chaturvedi is joint secretary at FLO, the Mumbai chapter. And under their aegis and under the FICCI umbrella, the power to empower has really taken shape with a prevention of sexual harassment at work program that they put out. And all of this stems from the fact that in 2013, after the Nirbhaya case and a lot of other very disturbing things that were happening here, the government of India introduced the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act in the Parliament, and that came into force on the 9th of September 2013. So Section 19C of this Act says it's mandatory if you're an employer to educate your employees on sexual harassment at regular intervals. Okay, now let's talk about compliance, and where you bring the HR departments in, such an important aspect of this whole process. Monica.
Okay, as Renu mentioned in the online module, that you can keep a record of all the employees who have conducted the program. We even give you a score as to how they have understood the program, because these records are going to be auditable. So these records are very, very important to be kept. So online is the best way to keep a track, because even when we conduct offline programs, people are hearing, not listening sometimes. You get a general feedback, people give an all good, all bad, whatever they feel like. Don't know whether they've actually acknowledged the program. But when we take them to the quiz, that's when we know that the person was paying attention, has attended the program. Even while doing the program, he can go back if he feels that he needs to learn a little more.
Correct. Every employee gets login credentials, and HR can actually track exactly training-wise.
Yes.
Completion rate and scores.
Absolutely. Yeah? And if required, we even, as per the demand of the organization, we give a certification to every employee who's completed.
And what are the analytics like, briefly? The analytics of actually
we give
how
them a percentage wise, because it's a very simple MCQ kind of quiz that we do. We also do a final assessment at the end of the program. So that recaps everything all over again after the person has done the entire program, gone through all the 6 modules of the program. So that gives a complete record to the employee, to the employer, that they have understood the program properly.
And obviously you save the cost of brick and mortar training, like she said, in classrooms. And,
you're not pulling out people, you're not taking out time, you don't have to arrange groups.
Very nice. Messages and back, and we're going to sum up this argument, and Renu Kapoor has some very interesting insights to sign off with. More pictures of the ladies, HRISHIKAY, that's the handle on Twitter, facebook.com/radio1.mum. You can like the page, you'll see them on the timeline, and you can post or tweet one last time. Chairperson Renu Kapoor, Joint Secretary Monica Chaturvedi from FICCI FLO, the Mumbai chapter. wonderful program on prevention of sexual harassment at work. It's an e-learning module for corporates, and we're going to talk a little bit about the act and say bye-bye to them.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Rishi K.
Radio 1.
Monica, the act, I know it's a Supreme Court judgment, but these are very verbose. A lot of people wouldn't have the patience to read the act.
Yes.
How have you explained it?
Okay. This is one of the most important part of the training module, that we have tried to explain the act in very simple terms through flowcharts, and also through a very simple bullet points, the rights of the accused while the inquiry is on. We've talked about the internal complaints committee, which is mandatory for every employer to have, and in which women will be the major part of the internal committees. It has to be headed by some senior women member of the committee, besides having an outsider, which could be a member from NGO. So all these have been explained in very, very simple bullet points or through flowcharts, because this is very important for women people to understand. And of course, then what are the measures, what are the rights while the inquiry is on, what are the rights of and the responsibilities of the ICC, the HR, how the inquiry is to be conducted, because there is a very specified time frame given. That within 3 months of the incident happening, it has to be reported. Within 90 days, the inquiry report has to be submitted. So it streamlines quite a few measures.
Ma'am, is this going to be a one-off thing, Mrs. Renu Kapoor, or is there going to be some regularity?
Absolutely not. In fact, I've been very fortunate. I have a very strong executive committee, and so all of them are in tandem with what we are doing, and they will take it forward. So this is going to ensure continuity for all our projects, be it the Swayam, the business initiative, this online training module, or the skilling for underprivileged. They'll all be continued.
And you do have an appeal to make to people. Yeah.
Actually, I would like to request all corporates to not consider this as just a statutory fulfillment, like we do that for the Schedule 6 for the Companies Act for accounts and tick a box. I think it's very important for all employers, all responsible employers, to sensitize both genders. Thanks.
Very well said. Where can we reach out to you people, and where is the program available, Monica Chaturvedi?
Okay, the program is available on YouTube. You can see the trailer of the program. If you type Noesis, Noesis, and the email ID to reach out to us is chairperson.flow, FLO, Mumbai @FICCI.com.
Thanks very much for your time, Mrs. Renu Kapoor.
Thank you.
And
Thanks,
Monica.
Rishi.
Thank you. Thanks, Rishi.